This is Corey with LilliPad Marine. I'm going to show you how to install an easy step boarding ladder on this Qwest pontoon. So the first thing we have to do is take off the existing ladder. Now that we have the ladder removed, I'm going to set the handles up here just to show you what to look for and to determine if you might need a filler plate kit or a blemish concealer pad. So as a general rule of thumb, if you have straight handles on your existing ladder, you're going to be able to cover the outer one with our handle. The inner one is going to be in between our handles. So if you have a hole within 11.5 inches from the back of the rub rail, the blemish concealer pad will cover it. Just like that. If your holes are going to be outside of our handles, you want to use a filler plate kit. One filler plate kit per hole. Now that the existing ladder has been removed, we're going to set the handles up here and determine our best mount location. So what I look for when I'm installing a set of handles is I try to cover any pre-existing holes if possible with the handle set. Then I also try to make sure I've got as much space on the other side and I have good access to a cleat or anything else that might need accessible. So now that I've got the handle set up here exactly where I want from the top side, you want to take a peek underneath and make sure that we don't have any wires or lines or anything that we're going to run into that would cause an issue as far as installing screws. Now this boat is very simple, it's very clean and open. We'll be able to get a screw into a cross member here, and the rest of these we'll be able to put nuts and washers on everything. So everything looks good top side and bottom side, so we're just going to go and mark all of our holes. Okay, so we've got all of our marks down, so we'll remove our handles and drill the holes. Okay, so the first drill bit you want to use is the 9/64 drill bit. Always pre-drill everything with the 9/64. What that's going to do is it's going to tell you whether or not you're going to hit metal, and then you can always upsize. You don't want to start with something bigger. So I like to keep my instruction sheet here so I know when I hit a screw that's metal, I put a mark on the sheet so I know exactly which one was metal as I'm going through. Okay, so the next step is to chase your pilot holes. In this case, we ran into our marked holes into aluminum, and those we're going to use a 3/16 bit to chase the 9/64 bit with. The next step is 1/4 inch drill bit. I'm going to drill the 9/64 out that did not go through metal because we're going to put screws with nuts and washers in all of these locations. Now that all our holes are drilled, we can install the handles and install all the hardware. Okay, you're going to get 2 bags of hardware with your Easy Step. This is the first one we're going to use, so go ahead and dump that out. Don't dump this one out. Set it aside. We're going to use that one later. Okay, so when I'm installing the handles, I like to start out by just taking the 1/4 screws and just putting them in the holes. There's no nuts and washers, but just get them down inside the holes. I like to use a long shank screw bit like this because when you're working really close to these handles, it keeps the bit nice and square to the screw. Not that you have to do this, but it's just my preference. Now I like to install these self-threading screws across the bridge. Gives you a nice secure starting point. And don't tighten these up yet, not till we get all of them installed. Now go back through and tighten them up. Okay, so now we're going to install the last 2 self-threading screws into that cross member. Okay, so now I'm going to go and install all the flat washer, lock washer, and nut on all of these machine screws. To tighten the nuts up, it's just a 10mm end wrench. And snug them down. Going to go through this tightening process for all the screws. So I've got all the screws, nut and washer combination in except for one, and I'm having a hard time reaching it, so I want to show you a trick on how to access a difficult screw. So just start with a piece of masking tape, stick your washer on. Take your screw, poke it through, put your lock washer on, thread your screw on. Now take your tape and roll it up. Now you can take your wrench and stick it onto the nut and it'll stay there. So now you can take your screw back out once you've got it positioned where you want it. Now you can feed this in underneath the floor and put your screw through the top. Okay, so we've got all of the hardware secured, and now we're going to move on to installing the ladder, which is going to be this hardware packet. So we want to get this hardware packet out, and we want to get our special tool. Get these out, and we'll get the ladder installed in the handles. Okay, so before installing the ladder into the handles, grab one of your barrels and this special tool, and you prep it by doing that. Now, set your ladder in here. And you take your special tool and do that with all of your barrels. So now we have all 4 barrels in the holes here. We're going to install the screws, but to install the screws, get your blue Loctite and just put a little dab on the threads. So we've got the screws in. Now you want to use 2 number 3 screwdrivers and snug them up. Okay, so now that we have all of the hardware securely fastened, tightened, and thread locked, the next step is to install the lifting strap. This is our last bag of hardware, which is going to have our screw with 2 washers. Unwrap your lifting strap. Okay, to prep for this, you want to do a little dab of this thread lock on the screw and put your small ID washer on. Now you take your large ID washer, take your strap, make sure it's straight and that the ladder release is facing out. Put the grommet on the post. Now put your washer over the post. Now wrap your strap around to where it's directly over the post. Then you can install your screw. And with the strap facing directly back, tighten it up. Now we're going to install the textured foam pad on the bridge here, but I always clean it up really well, make sure there's no dust, no oils. It's nice and clean. Then install this where it is just revealing the stainless in the front, and it's right on the inner points of the 2 welds to let the front touch, and then work your way to the back. We finished our standard installation process by installing the bridge pad. Now we still have some of these holes that are left from the pre-existing ladder. Well, what we have is our optional blemish concealer pad, And the blemish concealer pad, as long as we have these holes within 11.5 inches from the rear of the rub rail, the blemish concealer pad will cover them. This just sticks directly to the floor and gives us a really nice finish. Okay, to install the blemish concealer pad, you want to make sure that your floor is clean, dry, warm, and that when you install your blemish concealer pad, it is flat. And you do not want to install it on carpet. Just peel the backer off. Center it up. And work from your back forward. This is pressure sensitive adhesive, so the more pressure you put on it, the stronger it bonds. Okay, this finalizes the installation on this boat, and the one last thing I want to show you is how to use the special fastener on our lifting strap. Just grab the strap, lift it up, and I've got this little trailer hitch ball right here. This fastener just snaps in place, and then to release it, it will not come off if you pull on it. You have to pull the center out, and it'll come right off. It's spring loaded like this. Then you can deploy your ladder.